when we look at that first bullet point, adapting we've had to do when it comes to avoiding our instinctual sensing and utilization of our sixth sense. Let's break that down. It is instinctual for us to be aware of, acknowledge, develop, and use our psychic and other soul abilities, such as psychic ability, intuitive ability, and mediumship ability. It is also instinctual for us to be aware of, acknowledge, develop, and use soul senses, such as clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsentience. Not using them and or being unaware of them is going against our instincts and a detriment to our holistic existence as human beings. So let's take a look at that second bullet point. There is naturally some development of soul abilities and soul sensing we inadvertently accomplish. There is some development of our soul abilities that we all share. We have psychic and spiritual experiences like dreams that are premonitions or deja vu or synchronicities, which our culture would coin as uncanny or meaningless coincidences. I would also acknowledge that there is some degree of acceptance of soul abilities as seen with intuition. When we say, I got a gut feeling, that's intuition. And that is a soul ability. And it's something we each share. In our culture, that is probably the closest we can get to people accepting soul abilities. It's just, I don't think people realize that that is a soul ability. That is being in touch with your higher self and listening to that higher self. I think it is the way we open the door to people accepting that you are listening to an entity that's giving you information to help you along on your journey. And are they accepting of that? I think more so than not. Our culture is accepting of this soul sense because it is most ingrained in our spiritual selves. The closest departure to the soul journey, the direct line to our higher selves. And we can see it with our own language, like when I said a gut feeling. This common phrase shares intuition's common acceptance in culture, but its depth isn't fully understood or appreciated by the underdeveloped intuitive. And we're all intuitive. But that's why I have defined it as underdeveloped. There is some development, but it's not very functional, and it's barely acknowledged or understood. And not by, ignorance, not wanting to do it. It's more of just an awareness. Also, some people are more developed than others. And the way that some people grow up, it's more accepting to use your soul abilities. Why would some people be more developed than others? Perhaps there's a genetic factor. Got to be open to that. But I lean more towards a nurture influence in the environment one grows up in. Like I said, growing up in a family that expresses acceptance and awareness of soul abilities and soul senses will normalize, influence, and raise awareness of these abilities for the next generation in their soul abilities and soul senses journey. That is natural. That's a part of the human experience. Lastly, just as we adapted to walking upright and developed certain degrees of melanin in our skin, depending on where we live, our functional and developed psychic and other soul skills are survival skills. They have helped humankind continue to thrive on this planet, which is acknowledging that third bullet point of importance in our soul abilities and soul senses, in that it serves as a survival tool. So our culture, heavy in a history of religious suppression and lost to a society of extremes, it does not appreciate the skills of our psychic, intuitive, mediumship, healing selves, and the soul self is not seen as a universal trait as a human being. It is seen as an impressive superhero trait that we see in the movies, or a pitiful mental illness. Science can't explain it, or claims it's debunked it. Frauds flock to it to take advantage of the most vulnerable in our society. It holds mystery and skepticism, miracles and faith, and truth. The fact of the matter is, communication of the soul is with us at all times. It is not something you can buy, and yet we miss the opportunities to find our own individualistic power nearly every step of the way in life. Some are able to learn the lessons without addressing their soul self's tools, but it is through spirit that some learn what is most important in our lifetime.